we starting? What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Friday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you on the road. We got Max Solo in the sidecar. EB joins us as well as the coach. Q is behind the scenes running the ones and twos for us. So appreciate him. I know he's in the middle of a meeting right here in Canfield that I had to duck out of. So appreciate him running the controls for us while we give you the best hour of power on YSN. Gentlemen, first off, the draft was a huge success last night. So thank you guys for being a part of it. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Pizza Joe's once again for sponsoring that for us and for the pizza pie that they helped us out with me and Mac. So guys, or Matt, let's start with you. The National Day, we never got down to it because we got cut off. What are we going with?
So we're going to go with an interesting combination today. And it's National Oatmeal Cream Pie Day, Cream Pie Cookie Day. Remember the ones from high school, and then it's also National Raisin Day. So my question to you guys is, do oatmeal and raisins belong in a cookie together?
So you're saying if oatmeal raisin cream pie?
Oatmeal raisin cookies.
I would go oatmeal raisin cream pie because now I'm excited about that. Combine that.
That's an interesting combination.
I think it sounds phenomenal, but isn't there already like an oatmeal raisin cookie? So I'm kind of curious to why are you asking if they belong together? Because they're kind of already married.
There is, but I'm just not a big fan of raisins in my oatmeal cookie.
You make oatmeal cookies by themselves?
My mom does, chocolate chip oatmeal cookies.
Oh, that's just wrong.
I know, and it feels wrong every time.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, if I'm going in for an oatmeal raisin cookie and I get chocolate, I'm pissed.
Well, I'm not a big chocolate fan to begin with, so I'm even more pissed because they're always hidden within the oatmeal cookie.
There's no such in my world. There's no such thing as an oatmeal cookie. It's just oatmeal raisin. And if it is just an oatmeal cookie, it is sandwiched around delicious
Cream filling.
Whatever that is. I don't even call that cream because cream's like the stuff in the like the cowtails. Like to me, that's. But the other stuff is unbelievable. Like it's not cream, and even like Oreos, not really cream. They call it cream filling, but it's not cream filling.
No, it's like liquid, or not liquid, but like pasty crack.
Deliciousness.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you freeze? Nope, you're back.
Yeah, I got some bad. I'm gonna try to flip on my Wi-Fi here. Turn
Billy, what's your take?
On what? Oh, Billy or Bailey?
Billy,
Sounds,
William.
It sounds terrible, by the way. Oatmeal and raisins, both. Together, not together, all of the above. Sounds terrible.
So then what's your go-to cookie?
Go-to cookie? Sugar cookie.
Okay.
Just the OG sugar cookie.
Pre-plain.
Yeah.
Frosting on top?
Color? White.
Maybe.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Vanilla?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mint chocolate chip.
By the way, hey, real quick on ice cream, shout out to Lisbon Dairy Queen. Go get the hell's that thing called? The new blizzards they have? The drumstick blizzard. Unbelievable.
That sounds good.
Unbelievable. So try out the drumstick blizzard.
Gonna have to find a reason to go to Lisbon now.
You can come cover prom with me. I'm doing prom at 5:30.
So we're getting some comments here.
I think I'm busy.
But I know, Quinn's busy, and so we're not going to pop them up on the screen, but I'll just kind of read through them. Amo says, but they taste so good, DJ. Kate says she makes a mean oatmeal chocolate chip cookie. And Mom. Yeah.
Kate has the best cookies I've ever tasted. Like those giant ones she brought. Billy,
yeah.
were those just chocolate chip?
Yeah. Those are just chocolate
amazing.
chip. Yeah, nice and crispy, but still at the same time like chewy. It's a perfect combo.
Mommy Yoke wants to know frosting? ? Oh, here we go. Here's the comments.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider that frosting, wouldn't you? Like it's not. They call it cream, but it's more of a frosting.
Yeah, it is. It's more of a frosting texture.
The taste is like you can't even describe it. It's just like it tastes like when you were a little kid, like when mom or dad packed the little oatmeal cream pies, you knew you were having a good day because halfway through your day at lunch, you had oatmeal cream pie, or you had a great trade value for something else you wanted.
You know what else was solid and was very underrated was the Star Crunch.
No, those were terrible. I hated those.
Those underrated. Those were underrated. But the best one is the fudge round. Those are the best.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna disagree there.
God.
Yeah,
fudge round was like a little too much chocolate.
I'm here for it.
Oh. And it wasn't like chocolate. It was like that plastic chocolate taste.
Yeah.
Like Cosmic Brownies tasted so much better when you were little.
Plastic chocolate. What?
Yeah, dude. Like if you think that's the fudge round's real chocolate, oh.
I feel like I would be like what's his name on Zombieland with the Twinkies. I need a fudge round. Go get me.
I mean, I feel like the ho-hos were good though too. Like you can't you can never hawk ho. Yeah. You can never knock ho-hos.
Yeah,
what is and we got way off topic on this, but I like the topics it's bringing. What is the number one trade value Hostess cake or Hostess product?
The zebra cakes. That's what it was at Sebring. Yeah, at Sebring it was the zebra cakes. If you had those, you could get anything you wanted.
Zebra cake is typically my number one draft pick. However, I've been introduced to the strawberry shortcake.
Ooh.
It's legit. It's delicious because it actually has like little bits of strawberry. I don't know if they're real strawberry, but
I think the ho-ho has got to be the one. Like everybody liked them.
Is that the
so
cupcake?
You could always
no
the Swiss
rolls.
The Swiss rolls. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can trick that with it. Hey, I got this. Oh yeah.
I got ho-hos. They'd be like, all right, what do you want? You want my pudding cup and gushers or what?
You lose half
Ooh,
of
I
it
would
on
make
the,
that. I
on the
would
wrap.
make that trade, Eric. I would make that trade.
That's a solid trade. Hey, speaking of solid trades, what'd you guys think of Chicago going up to get Justin Fields last night?
Not shocked.
You see
by
on
it.
the network, they're everywhere. Everybody's killing Chicago, or not. They're feeling sorry for Justin Fields. They're saying he went to the worst place.
I don't understand that though, because there are good pieces to that roster.
I think it's just organizationally, they have a really crappy GM, they have a really crappy owner, they have a crappy coach.
They were 8-8.
As we know,
they're not good.
No, 8-8's not good, but there are pieces there. They've got a decent running game. They've got a halfway decent offensive line that I think they're going to address further here tonight.
I'd be willing to say that there's going to be a new coach there next year.
I think so. Yeah.
So now you're doing this all over again, and the stigma of, oh, this isn't my quarterback. I didn't draft this quarterback, and then they're going to look for another guy, and then Justin Fields is going to be pushed to the side and looking for a new home, maybe.
So the interesting take that I heard this morning was that Chicago panicked and jumped up there to get Fields. Meanwhile, New England, who liked Mac Jones the entire time, just remained patient and let him come to them at their draft pick.
New England's never drafted a quarterback in the first round.
No.
So to be honest with you, if they would have taken Fields or Mac Jones fell to somebody else, New England doesn't care. They're not going to sit there and go, make any brash moves and say, well, we're gonna go get our guy. No, they're going to wait. They are living proof that you can draft a quarterback anywhere and turn him into the greatest of all time. And obviously the quarterback has to be pretty okay too, but still.
Right.
The other interesting thing I heard on New England was the reports this morning were that Bill Belichick has basically told Robert Kraft that he is not ever going to retire and that they'll basically find him dead at his desk one day.
So, it's funny about that? I just read a report a couple of days ago, and I can't remember if we talked about it or not, but after, I want to say we did, is he tried to leave New England to go to Philly. The year that Philly won the Super Bowl, the year before that, before they won, after they traded Jimmy G, and he was so upset about that, and then wanted to leave. It's funny that you say that he's never going to retire. Which is probably true, but I don't think he'll retire in New England. I think at some point they'll get into it again and he'll move on.
I don't know though, because I think the whole thing with Tom Brady could have been the tipping point where. The reports were that him and Bill weren't getting along, and there was a struggle over who had more to do with the success of the team. That really could have ruined it. But then, they were able to figure that out. Tom's out of there now. He's got a young quarterback coming in. He's got a young nucleus of players that he's kind of developing again.
I could see zero skilled guys. Zero. No offensive weapons at all.
But that's their MO, isn't it? I mean, they take guys off the street.
It will be interesting to see how Mac Jones develops with no playmakers, because my God, has he had some playmakers in college.
Would it shock anyone if they made a move for Julio Jones tonight after we heard that Julio's on the trading block?
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
that's not a New England move.
It's not, but I think that if they could get Atlanta to eat part of that dead salary and get him for something dirt cheap, that they'd be all in on something like that.
I would say this is a New England move, because you could add Randy Moss into that mix. You can add Josh Gordon into that mix. You could add other wide receivers that they've already traded.
But those are projects. Those are projects.
And damaged goods.
It's not a project.
No.
Julio Jones, everybody knows that Julio Jones is a good person, good human being, good at football, all this stuff. Randy Moss was on the tail end of his career. He had culture issues inside locker rooms.
I don't know about tail end. I mean, the guy had a Hall of Fame season in 1 year with coming over.
But that was the first wide receiver, Tom, like a true number
know
one
that,
wide
but
receiver that he's had to throw to.
I'm not arguing any of that, Eric. It's just like to say he was like on the tail end, he's dropping off. He had his best year ever.
You can still be on the tail end of your career and have the best year of your career. I mean, like, again, not to bang the drum, Roethlisberger's that guy, right? He had good years 2 years ago, had a great year, probably the best year of his career. Wasn't awful last year until week 12. You know, you can have good years. The best. Aaron Rodgers, 37, has an MVP. So I mean,
I don't think I'll be surprised if Julio comes over. I mean, I wouldn't be as surprised as anybody else.
He's not.
I would be.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's just not a New England move. Like, and Julio doesn't necessarily. I don't want to say that he doesn't fit them, but it's just not like them to go get someone like that. Like if you naturally look at who they have, they still have like N'Keal Harry probably won't be terrible. Has he taken a little longer to develop? Yes, but he was injured his first year. You know, Julio is going to go where Julio is going to win. Which rightfully so could be New England, but New England's still kind of in that, like, they're still in the post Tom Brady phase to where they still got to match and fix and mold some of these pieces into what they are, and they're more of a system. So they're rebuilding their system to, you know, fit that post Tom Brady, you know, phase or whatever they're in. And hell, they might never fix it. It might be forever. It might be another 10 years and, well, this is post Tom Brady. This is post Tom Brady. Like, who's to say? Yeah, they had Bill Belichick. Maybe it was Tom Brady who was a piece that held it all together. Like, no one's going to discredit Belichick because what he's done, but he's not the end all be all either. It's I'm just curious. You know, Mac Jones fits New England. I believe like that's a good fit for him, but we're going to see some of this is going to come down to how much Belichick is going to trust him too.
Michael Page mentioning that Chicago ruined Trubisky and Amo is disagreeing with him.
Yeah, Trubisky was not very good. He was not deserving of a first overall pick.
I think he had the potential to be a good quarterback, but
was he number one?
Yes.
He had like 7 starting games in college, like something ridiculously low. Like,
yeah, but that
was the first overall pick.
It's definitely another case of a decent quarterback being ruined by the organization that he goes to.
Sure, but you could say that about every quarterback that comes into the first round.
Listen, and this is what we talked about last night. Everybody sits there and they wonder why these quarterbacks, these players don't pan out when they're the first pick of 32 teams and it's reverse snake. It's worst to first. Like, the organization's not good that's picking you up. You want to be in a situation like Mac Jones was last night, where you have a 6-time world champion drafting you that knows how to go win. Like, who's going to benefit more, Mac Jones or any of the other 4 quarterbacks that were drafted last night?
Yeah, you got to think that Mac Jones is the most excited of where he landed, just on a team.
I don't know.
He was walking weird to the stage, and I read a comment because we made comment of it. It's because they said because he had such an erection going to the stage because he knew that he's going to be the best out of all 5 of those quarterbacks. He's going to have the best career because of where he's going.
I don't know. I honestly think that if I'm one of the quarterbacks, I want to be Trey Lance. Because that situation in San Francisco is a good situation to be in. And you've got one of the most, I think, one of the top offensive coordinators in the game in Kyle Shanahan to be your coach.
But he's also the biggest project.
Oh, he definitely is. And there's definitely a lot of room for growth in his game. And obviously, you know, coming from the FBS division, you know, there's going to be question marks there. But I think that if they can take their time and bring him along slowly, I made the prediction last night. I think by week 7, he's the starter.
If I was San Francisco, if I was San Francisco last night, and I thought about this as I went home, I probably would have traded out because they're not far away. They're not far removed from a Super Bowl. they're not planning on drafting in the top 5 anytime soon. If they can keep all their pieces healthy, right? You have so much leverage with that piece that trade out of there and set yourself up for the next 2 or 3 years with your draft picks in the rounds. You know, trade it out for
the only problem with that is that they traded up to get there.
Right.
I just don't know that Trey Lance is a guy that you want as a project at number 3. You know,
there has to be pressure in that organization to go win right now, and you drafted a project. That's kind of where I see it. I think it's the same page as DJ's trying to get to is you went and got a guy for the future, and your time is right now. And we know one thing in the NFL, it's a win now league, and that window is open right now as we speak. And you're talking about a guy who's not going to really matter until 3 years from now. He's going to sit out this year, maybe the majority of the year, maybe get some time in this year at the end of the season if they're not doing very well. If they're doing well, which they should, you can't imagine they're going to throw a rookie quarterback in there to try to take the second half part of the season into the postseason and maybe potentially to a Super Bowl. So now you're looking at the following year for his first start. He's going to go through all kinds of rookie issues, which he's not really a rookie at that point, but most guys outside of one have had rough first starts, and then now you're looking at year 3 down the road to finally get his, to gather it to really lead that team. It's a long way. You're looking at maybe paying Kittle again at that point, and your defensive guys are going to get old. Your weapons are going to get old. Yeah. There is no right now on Trey Lance. He's not going to be the starter day one. And we talked about this yesterday or 2 days ago. The top 10 picks are starters day one, and that's one who's not going to be a starter for day one.
I honestly think, though, that there is a chance with Trey Lance that we see something happen like what we saw happen with Russell Wilson when he went to the Seahawks, that he just comes in and knocks everybody's socks off from day one.
He beat out a quarterback who was a backup quarterback for the Packers. Like, he beat him out in season. You're talking about beating out a guy who
is a backup quarterback.
Who definitely gets a bad rap, but has been to a Super Bowl. Took his team to a Super Bowl and has a pretty good record. Why am I defending Jimmy G?
Jimmy, I don't know.
I'm just letting you go, man. I enjoy it. I'm actually waiting for Kate to comment to kind of see how this keeps going. So
I'll put some Skittles that Trey Lance does not start game 1.
No, he is not starting game 1. There's no way.
Oh, I don't think game 1, but I think we're going to see it earlier than most people think. I said 7, and I think it could be earlier than that.
We're going to have to put some Skittles down.
I would set the over-under as 7.
Why do you have 2 quarterbacks that you're paying that much money?
Well, we don't know. They may still try and trade Jimmy G tonight.
They've got no leverage now.
There's still quarterbacks.
I don't think they were going to get a first rounder for Jimmy G. They weren't going to get a first rounder.
No.
But you have no leverage with when you have 2 quarterbacks on your roster because everybody's expecting you, right? You have to have leverage when you've got Jimmy G's the guy.
Well, now you also have the issue like the Patriots drafted a guy. There's other teams who drafted a quarterback last night. So other teams, there's probably only 5 or 6 teams who value Jimmy G as a starting quarterback right now to help them win, and at least in a high market value, right?
You know who might be interested in Jimmy G?
Who's that?
Green Bay.
Nope.
I don't think Jimmy G ends up in a cold weather city.
Yeah,
no, I don't think it's that.
Dude, I paid attention to who the Cowboys picked, and that was it. So
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to go to San Francisco now. If Aaron Rodgers was going to San Francisco, if they felt confident in that deal,
it would have happened last night for the number 3. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers has to go to Green Bay to San Francisco, though.
What are you going to
do? Like a 3-team trade?
Yeah, they could pull off like a 3-team
trade. Yeah.
Kate says rookie contracts aren't that much. Kate, if you've got that kind of spare change laying around, throw it my way.
So the top 5 is it's still pretty good.
YSN just got real expensive. That's the part. I don't know. Like I still the top storyline of this entire draft is Aaron Rodgers. It
Yes.
is. It just is. And Billy, you said last night on your way out, you said you don't think they're going to make a move now.
Nah, and they doubled down last night post game draft. The GM for the Packers came out and said, "We'll figure it out. We're not trading Aaron Rodgers."
I don't think that's a good look.
And I think it's a bad move because I think Aaron Rodgers might be one of the pettiest players in the NFL. If he decides like, "Hey, I'm not coming back," he'll sit his ass on the sidelines.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna go host Jeopardy.
Right.
I'll
Like
just say, screw you guys.
He's cool with it, and he just doesn't care. I think a big part of this, I was having a conversation with somebody today about it. I think they came to him and said, "Hey, we want to restructure your deal at some point, like in the last month or so." And he said, "Go pound salt. You haven't done nothing for me. You haven't drafted any players for me. You haven't done anything on the offensive end in any draft. You drafted a quarterback last year. I'm not restructuring nothing, and I'm here for it. Good job for Aaron Rodgers to do that."
So, and Brandon McPherson said Rodgers to Denver. Naturally, I can see it happen because that would be an LA move. But, I keep on, like Denver's not sold on a lock. But they just picked up Bridgewater, too. So
Bridgewater's not a starter, though. I mean, he's a gap starter, but he's not a starter.
Right.
What do you mean he's not a starter?
At this point in his career, he's definitely – I mean, he could be a gap starter. He could be a bridge starter to something else, but they don't have that something else right now either.
You do.
Well, he's going to be the starter for Denver.
Yes. Like, come on. He's not a starter. But what is he, 5 years in?
No, he's a little more than 5. I think he played really? 3 with Minnesota. Then he got hurt for a year, played with the Jets, then in the same year got traded. He's probably 7 years in. 8 at the most.
I mean, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl as a starter. Let's think about that, right? Like, never count out guys that are under 10 years, let's just put it that way, as starters in the NFL. Because reality is these guys are sitting back in the on-deck circle, so to speak, and learning while everybody else is out on the field. You know what I mean? So I like Teddy Bridgewater a lot. There was so much hype around him when he was in Minnesota, Teddy Two Gloves and the stuff that he did. Now, he didn't win a Super Bowl or anything like that, but he impressed some people enough to get a second chance and a second chance and a second chance, even after injury. So I think Teddy Bridgewater is the guy in Denver. I think they would have to give up an arm and a leg in order to.
I'll put it to you this way. I'd rather have Teddy Bridgewater than Sam Darnold in Carolina all day, every day.
Do you think like Houston is turning their wheels to try to figure out something to do like for that shit show?
That is a great point. We didn't hear anything about Houston last night because they don't know if they have a quarterback right now.
Right.
But you're also hearing there's a lot of these women are falling off. So if you've been paying attention, a lot of these cases are now being retracted and turned away. So
well, Houston, we also didn't hear about them last night because they didn't have a pick last night.
They don't think they have a pick till round 3, right?
I think it's round 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
which is surprising because I thought they would be a team that moved back in.
I don't think they have any assets to be able to do it.
They're just a dumpster.
They got a big asset. He wears number 4.
So if I'm Houston, I would literally call Green Bay and be like, trade straight up. I don't know if it works that way with the contracts and everything, but if in a perfect world, I'd be like, Green Bay, you're sitting pretty in this because you still have the Love dude from last year. So if it doesn't work out with Deshaun, you still got your guy that you're building for the future. We need a quarterback and someone to build around.
Aaron Rodgers would hate going to the Houston Texans.
And that would be the ultimate move by Green Bay. All right, you're not gonna play with us?
Yeah. Cool, you're going there.
Yeah, I mean, do it. Well, that could be something that tips, or pushes the needle over for Houston to be like, hey, maybe we do need to put out our dumpster fire of an organization and figure out what the hell we're going to do.
I honestly think that Houston is hoping that either one of two things happen here. Either Watson's cleared of all charges and good to go, or that he's charged and they can, use the detrimental to the team clause in the contract and get rid of that giant freaking contract that they just extended him on.
Call a spade here, though. Watson wants out of Houston. Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. Here you go. Match made in heaven.
I don't think.
Sign me up for GM.
What's that?
Like if you're the Green Bay GM, you want Deshaun Watson right now?
No.
Even if you have to cut him, who cares?
You're either
gonna eat the money of Rodgers, who's gonna sit, or however that works, or whatever happens with that, or you trade and you hope to God something happens to Watson. You don't have to pay him, and you still have your boy.
I think Watson's too radioactive at this point.
I would rather have A-Rod's contract and him telling me he doesn't want to play for me than have Deshaun Watson's contract and have the media circus every day.
I mean, it's Green Bay. What kind of media is up there, man?
They're pretty diehard. And you got.
I was going to say probably they're the only ones.
You got 70,000 owners.
You got them and the Brewers and the Bucks.
That's right.
Yes, Canfield and West Branch still on tonight. Jamie Romo is Jamie Thompson will have the call for you. Picked it up. Sorry, I kind of combined two people there.
Mashed them together.
I mean, it's practically what it is, though. Jamie Romo.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be arguing, I'm sure, if they had both Jamie and Romo out there. They would love it. That's a big game. All right, so I mean, there's a couple big games. That is a big game.
So, keeping with the theme of the NFL draft and having 3 different teams represented by fans here, what do you want to see your team do tonight as the draft gets back underway here in not very long?
Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with you.
I loved what the Steelers did yesterday. I even the more I read about Najee Harris, the more I love the pick. It sounds like it's a little bit of a culture change that is happening in Pittsburgh and a much needed one. Him being homeless and having the draft party at the homeless shelter was pretty cool. You think about what that guy's been through. He's been through some adversity. So you hope that the adversity is out of the way, right? And he can just focus on playing football and bringing a championship to the city. That being said, you're going to need somebody to block for him. You're going to need to get some hosses up front and get him protected because he's the best running back in the draft. And I'm okay with it. Number 24, you draft the best running back.
I think it's a great pick for Pittsburgh, and any Pittsburgh fan I've spoke to, they like it. And I obviously have no dog in the fight. Now, granted, I've watched some Browns fans sit there and say, "Oh, they're so stupid," checking sources. They need this, they need that. But realistically, there's multiple ways you can build an offensive line. Like a running back, it's tough to get a used running back already because the expectations of how long they can play for can be so limited. I much rather I like their pick. If I'm on Pittsburgh, I'm probably going offensive line heavy the next couple rounds just because that's what you guys do kind of need. Last year, your defense was good until it got throttled with injuries. You had like 2 ACL tears and something. So really the core of what Pittsburgh has is pretty okay once they're healthy, and everyone should be healthy again this year. I thought that was a phenomenal pick because, if you look games 12 through 18 last year for Pittsburgh, what everyone started doing, hey, we'll rush 3, we'll drop 7. They didn't have to respect the run game because your running backs just weren't every down backs. And now you finally have that guy who you can build and put into that role. And then that's where you go get someone, maybe like a James Conner who turns into a third down back or picks some things up to where he can be more successful, even though he's at Arizona now. But you can go get another running back. Benny Snell really didn't shake out to be anything that I think Pittsburgh fans thought that he's going to be, but maybe he can fill in and be that, scat back every once in a while to where he can complement this guy.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you, and kind of taking fandom out of it and taking the fact that I'm a Browns fan out of it. I like the draft pick. I think he's a valuable asset to have as an offensive weapon. What I'm going to be interested in is, as today kind of progresses in rounds 2 and 3, I think that you're probably looking at an offensive lineman and maybe a linebacker at some point.
Be nice to get a corner too. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's definitely corner need, but there's definitely more depth at corner in this draft than there is at linebacker.
I don't know if we're gonna get another corner. We signed 2 in free agency. The one kid from the Rams.
Billy, hey, I'm talking about the Steelers right now.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Browns. You said
No.
You said we. So like.
No, I'm gonna come to you in a minute here and get your Browns take, but
No, don't worry about it.
Just kind of wrapping up on the Steelers. I do think that there's definitely a need there at linebacker, and I agree with you, DJ. I think there's a big need at cornerback that could definitely be filled later in the draft.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the Steelers think they're really good at drafting corners late in the draft, but they all stink. Like they're all so bad. So I mean, you lose Mike Hilton, that's your number 1 corner. You cut Stevie Nelson, that was your number 2 corner. Your number 3 corner, essentially, Justin Lane gets in trouble carrying a firearm in Ohio. What do you do? Like, you're out your top 3 corners. What would you do if you're out your top 3 wide receivers? It's the same deal.
Yeah.
You got to go fill up the depth chart. And I think the opposite. And I could be way off base here, but I just keep hearing how deep this draft is for offensive linemen. And don't get me wrong, offensive linemen, defensive linemen is where it all starts. It starts in the trenches. You got to win those wars. However, it's not fun whenever quarterbacks are throwing 40-yard bombs on you every play, and you say, well, we could have gotten guys in the draft, but we didn't because we needed to fill them with hogs up front who typically get injured anyway. Like is it Dickinson from Alabama? Like, he's still on the board for a center. Everybody loves him, but he gets injured every year. There's never a year that he's played that he hasn't been injured. And that is a red flag. And then you go Dickerson and then, 6 yards of fluff and then the next best center. So the Steelers, they better have their scouting reports right, because otherwise this could be a draft that, just like in 2004, it changed the franchise for the better. This could be a draft that changes the franchise for the worse. And that after a 3-year extension with Tomlin, this could be the one that cost him his job.
Hey, everybody gave me crap about my offensive lineman for every pick in the first round, but I want to point out to everybody that 30% of the players taken last night were offensive or defensive linemen.
That's not the majority.
Yeah, it's not the majority.
That means 70% wasn't. So,
but from the trenches, totally 30%, which is higher than any other position area.
I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but okay, I guess. I don't know.
All right, moving on. Billy, let's hear your Browns take, because I am interested.
I don't remember what the question was now.
There's four quarterbacks taken, correct?
Yeah. So
there's 32 teams, but only 31 of them technically. Well, one of them picked twice. That'd be
32 picks.
5 quarterbacks taken, by the way.
So 5, so that'd be 40%, wouldn't it be?
No.
What is that? Maybe you're right.
That's 15%.
1.
Oh.
2.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Welcome to numbers on Power Hour.
Yeah, numbers on Power. Anyway,
Billy, the question is, what do you want to see the Browns do tonight in rounds 2 and 3?
I got 2 scenarios. I really think that they might trade up early in the second round here, and maybe create a little buzz and go after the defensive tackle from Alabama. If he's there after San Francisco, I could see him trying to jump up maybe to Atlanta spot and taking that Alabama defensive tackle since we lost Sheldon or Richardson, and that's a need that they need. They, rebuild that defensive line back there, because with Clowney, you don't know with Clowney. I mean, you know what his potential can be. You don't know if he's going to be limited on plays, how healthy he is. You hear about he's back to 100% for the first time in years, but you also got to build that up. If they stay where they're at, I can see them going offensive linemen. I mean, either way, I think they're going to go in the trenches. This clown, Michael Page, we went over this the other day, that there's 7 guys on the roster right now that play wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. And this dummy here is like, Browns are going to go get a wide receiver in the second round to play where? And
generally wide receivers play on the outside.
Right. So, clown. This clown
that's a 70% that is not a lineman.
There's just no way they're going to this clown. Imagine, like, what are they going to do? They're going to have 8 guys. They already have one of the most expensive wide receiving cores in the entire league, and now they're just going to add another guy from the second round. Not going to happen.
By the way, it might not be bad. Your receiving core is generally hitting up physical therapy, so at least you know where the money's going.
Yeah.
At least they're not using the same one as Deshaun Watson.
That's also true.
We went through a few of them. You might have some overlap there.
There might be. Yeah. I'm thinking he had one in every city. EB,
Michael
really
Page, I'm going to my game here in a minute. This is my game attire.
EB, really interested to get your take on the Cowboys. Not only their draft pick last night, but what they're going to do going forward here in the draft.
Well, I like their draft pick last night. One, it was a needed position for them. Like, that was
Micah
huge.
Parsons, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
the dude runs like a 4.39 or something crazy like that. And I watched it a little bit, and I haven't kept up with a lot of this draft stuff. I never really do. But I mean, for someone who's only been playing inside linebacker for 2 years, and just now, granted, they show all the great highlights, but I mean, it's a phenomenal pick for them because, one, you lose Sean Lee, which, I mean, he was pretty much made of glass the past like 7 years, anyways. So that definitely helps. And another Penn State linebacker who generally, they have a pretty good NFL career. Van Der Esch, if that dude can stay healthy, and you have, who is it, Jalen Smith, that's a pretty, those 3 healthy, that's a pretty damn good linebacking core. Moving forward, in all seriousness, the Cowboys could probably draft all defense, and it wouldn't hurt them at all. They kind of need to, but I also think they need to start to re-up some of their assets on the offensive line, because their line is aging. Your tackles were hurt all last year. Obviously, that didn't help them when Dak went out, because, I mean, you couldn't even watch those games. It was like watching small school, high school football left tackles trying to block NFL dudes. They would just like watch them walk by them, and the quarterback's getting hit before he even gets the ball out of a shotgun snap. So you can't go wrong there, and I think they're going to start to re-up a little bit on their offensive line. I think that's just natural for what the Cowboys do. That they're always O-line heavy. That's their MO. They always build around the line, but I would like to see them still kind of beef up and get heavy secondary. They got trash in the secondary last year. If you can keep your linebacking core, healthy this year, that's going to be a huge plus. But they still need some pass rushers too. They didn't all around. There was a reason they were one of the last 2 teams in just about every category on defense last year, because it flat out sucked. Everyone knows you can put up points, but you scoring 45 points is great, but when you give up 48, it still means you don't win.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that, secondary is definitely going to be an area that in the second and third rounds here, we're going to see a run on some of those players happen. And, it could get interesting to see where some of the other guys fall based on the fact that run is definitely going to happen. I just wanted to touch real quick on Mike Parsons, man. How scary is it? The dude is 6'3", 250 and runs that fast.
That's borderline freak.
Yeah.
Like, that's moving. Like, moving. That's
going to hurt when it hits you.
Yeah, I mean, look at some of your top tier running backs and how fast they run, and generally a 4.45 or 4.5 is good.
Yeah.
To be 4.3 is a lot of your DBs and really, I'd say your secondary people, because even a lot of times your wide receivers run those 4.5s, 4.6s, but they just run great routes and they know how to use their body position.
Well, so that's what's going to be interesting to me is as we continue to watch the NFL or the league, the Pro Football League, move more and more to almost a 7-on-7 feel where the running back isn't as featured and the running game isn't as featured, and we're seeing them throw the ball, all over the place all game long. We're going to start to see more and more of these hybrid type guys come out that can get it done as an in the box player, but can also drop into coverage. And, imagine him being able to run with a tight end now. Well, you're in really good shape there.
That's the thing, though. And they even said it last night during the draft. He's like a nightmare for a tight end matchup because he's not going to get beat. That's not a mismatch anymore. And on top of that, he can cover just how quick you can cover sideline to sideline or shoot those gaps. You're running 4.4 or 4.3 or right around there, and shooting that gap or any of those outside runs or sweeps to where he's really closing in and getting downhill quick. That's the difference between a positive 3-4 yard gain or a negative 3-4 gain or loss. So I think just that speed in general, and plus he can play line because naturally that's what he did before he got to Penn State. So you can put him down. Whoever it was, it might have been Kuiper or whoever. Like they're like, what do you do on third down with him now? Because now you can rush him off the edge, or are you going to drop him back? Just a versatility. He's like the utility player on defense.
For sure. So I'll keep mine quick and simple with the Browns, and I'm going with Mac. I agree we need a defensive tackle, and I would like to see us at some point start to focus on finding a decent outside linebacker. But I think that probably in rounds 2 and 3 tonight, you're going to see defensive tackle and offensive line depth in no particular order. Any other thoughts?
I mean, do you think that? I mean, I know everybody wants a sexy pick in Cleveland now, since they got the cornerback that you may or may not like. But do you think that they're going to go and try to get some fillers and maybe some hype players to appease the fans, or are they going to do things the way they should? And Andrew Berry starts plugging holes to where essentially you're trying to compete for a championship.
I think there's enough sexy on that team already to begin with. They don't need any more. Just leave it alone, let the players play, and go get some guys to, you look at some of the better organizations year in and year out. They don't jump to make picks. Look at like very, very much similar like New England tonight. Last night they wanted Mac Jones. They sat still. They got their guy. I think that's kind of the idea for Cleveland tonight is. If you want to move up, it's for a player. You got a guy on your board you want. It's okay to move up and down, but it doesn't have to be flashy. We got skilled guys everywhere for the most part. Maybe another safety, our rookie safety being hurt again. That might be another one down the road, maybe 4th, 5th round. But yeah, just go get some big guys, man.
So if you're the Browns and whoever the best player is available, and it's not a need that actually fits you guys, do you guys take it and hopefully maybe use them as trade asset?
Trade back.
Yeah,
I think you trade back and you start to build up a war chest of assets that you can use either this year or in future years when there are positions of need or things that you need to move around and have the ability to go up and get guys.
Oh, you mean like you guys have done with your 17 tight ends that you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to see I don't want to see them try and grab Flash tonight or tomorrow for that matter. I want to see them continue to fill in this roster with quality depth players that can either come in and contribute immediately on special teams or learn to play the position as a professional and be ready to step in.
It's so crazy. You know the Browns have at least turned a corner. I'm not saying that they're going to – well, I'll say it. They're going to win the Super Bowl this year. But it's very nice to sit here and say that we're drafting in the second round for depth. For 10 years ago, we were drafting in the second round for starters. X. You know, it's just – it kind of seems like we're turning that corner where – we're becoming
well, that's, you know, I was going to say you guys are in a unique position too, because first time ever in history, I'm pretty sure you're the only organization with all 11 starters back on offense as well as defense, right? Or no, is it just offense?
That's just on offense.
But still, no. So nonetheless, like I agree with you. You build up the chest a little bit. You know, go get your obviously.
It's cute whenever you try to act tough after mismanaging your team for 22 years. Like you've had every opportunity. You've had first round Power 5. Like this is where I always said that the Browns are going to learn what it's like to have to build a franchise, because when you're not picking Power 5 every year and you got to pick up some of these guys that are not necessarily there, you got to do your homework. Like you can't let ESPN do your homework for you all the time. And that's what they were doing. They were just saying, "Oh, okay, what's the flavorful pick? What's the one that's going to sell tickets? You want to know what sells tickets? Win football games." And
I think they got some like a GM and a coach who understand that now, though. Like before, they were a product of their own environment.
Dorsey scared me. When they had Dorsey scared me because that dude was a gunslinger, and he didn't care what he did, whose shoes he pissed on. He was going to do what he thought was best for the organization. And I was like, all right, dude, we're not messing with the Browns. Stay away from them. But Andrew Berry's he's a tactical guy. He's a tactician. He knows exactly. He's got that laser vision. He knows what he needs to go after. And the Browns, if they're smart, they lock this guy up for a very, very, very long time. Because
and remember, he was instrumental to filling out that Philadelphia roster when they won the Super Bowl.
Well, and here's the thing, is you're going to have a lot of players in the next 2 or 3 years that say, I need paid. And I'm a piece of why the football is back in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. That's all well and good. But those players can be replaced. There's great talent that comes out at 22, 23 years old every year. Andrew Berry,
that will be the biggest balancing act, is once these players are starting to their second contract, wanting to get paid. Now, how are you going to do that and also bring in talent to maybe push them or say, hey, no, we're going to go with this guy because he's a younger you, but at a cheaper price. And deal.
You know how that you want to know how you do that? You win the Super Bowl, because then you go back and you can walk these guys through your facilities and say, listen, we won one of those. Come win one with us. That's the advantage that Kansas City has. That's the advantage that New England has, that Pittsburgh has. And that's how the Steelers kept their team together. They said, you want to win one of those? You take a little bit less money and you come play with us. Until Cleveland does that, they're in trouble because
nobody's taking less money. Nobody's taking less money to come to Cleveland.
Yeah, but not until they win a championship. Now you guys finally have a GM that understands chess and not checkers, and that's all Cleveland was. How quick can we get this so we can jump in and go do it? Like this guy, actually, dude, I like him, like because he sits there. I think DJ said it, like he's methodical about it. He makes the methodical moves to where, okay, if I move here, this is probably what's going to happen 2 or 3 years down the line to where I can start to fill in there. Like personally, I wish the Cowboys would do it, because now it's just, Jerry Jones. Well, look at me and my yacht, and my dick's bigger than yours, and this and that. Like that's just a Jerry Jones way. He wants to throw around all this money, but it hasn't translated to anything. Then anyone who's ever done the methodical things or actually tried to build an organization, he ran out of town. So I get it's not built overnight, and that's kind of like what the NFL is. Max said it earlier, it's a win now league, but this dude definitely has a lot to build off of, especially with success from last year.
I think it's that time, boys.
I think so.
It is that time.
Do you want me to plug it? You've been doing great as a host, by the way, Matt.
Well, I appreciate that, but nobody does the G Burbick Farms What's Your Beef lead in like you do. So let's have you jump in on it.
It's that time of day for the G Burbick Farms. What's your beef? What's your filet? Brought to you by our friends over at G Burbick Farms. Visit them on New Buffalo Road in Columbiana or on the web at gburbickfarms.com. If you're not familiar, it's the time. Yeah, moo. It's the time that we put our beef, which is bad stuff, or our filet, which is the good stuff, in the limelight. And we are going to start with Mr. EB. Let's go with you.
I think it's a filet. Maybe it's a beef. I'm not sure. But I really enjoyed Mac going at it with Paige. So I'm just going to pass my beef and filet onto them so I can watch some more of that.
Let's go to Coach.
Yeah, I'll get out of the way real quick so that we can enjoy more Mac and Paige beefing with each other. But mine's a filet, and it's just the draft party last night. There were so many people that were in the comments and hanging out with us. It was a long 4 hours. There were beverages, but it was really enjoyable to just hang out with everybody and get to hear everybody's takes and enjoy our fans.
I can get behind that. I'm gonna go next because I think you're gonna be the main event here, buddy. I'm gonna go with the filet as well. Filet and a beef. Filet is that we got the Canfield West Branch game covered. Jamie's doing that for us. Love it. Guys stepping up once again here on the network. Beef is like not enough. We don't have enough tonight, and I'm part of the problem. I'm doing something different here on the network because Lisbon needs their prom covered. So you'll be able to watch that at 5:30 on ysn.com or ysnlive.com/Lisbon. But I'm bummed because we're going to miss a night that there's going to be some pretty good games going on. Austintown Fitch, one of those games being played at Fitch. They moved it back to Fitch at 5 o'clock, and it doesn't look like we're going to have that. So any last second adjustments or guys that are watching this or that need a game or want a game to go to, Austintown Fitch is a great place to be. So if we can get that game covered, I'd be more happy. But right now, I'm just kind of bumming. We're there. We're making momentum, and now we're kind of stifled a little bit. So that's my part of the beef.
The moment you've all been waiting for.
Michael Page, you child. You got 7 wide receivers, and he wants more. See, that's the problem. You're a typical Browns fan, okay? You love Baker, and then you want more weapons for Baker. Like, at some point, he's got to be able to do it without having Odell and Landry. These guys, he's going to get paid, okay? Relax. We don't need another 12 wide receivers, okay? You with me? You feel me? All right? So pump the brakes. Yeah, nice. You want the one? You got one, all right? So, but my beef is all this stupid emailing that I've been having to do all damn week, and now I get a message today, hey, this wasn't right. Can you do it all over again? No, here's what I'm going to say. I told them on email, listen, either figure it out or we're not coming. Want to know what happened? They figured it out in like 3 minutes. First game Astros tonight for 12U. That's where I'm going tonight, so there's my filet on that. Hey, Quinn, take me off the screen. And
Quinn, wave the flag.
Wave the flag. Get us out of here.
Wave the flag. Or don't.
Somebody